Hi, the purpose of this video is to show how to convert slides, these things, into digital photos that you can look at on your computer. Okay, the equipment needed to do it is fairly simple. You take a digital camera, something like this, with a lens that's capable of focusing on a slide. Now, I've got a macro lens at the end of this thing. This thing here is a Hoya 10X macro. It's a magnifying glass. It's just basically a magnifying glass. It serves to make this thing a macro lens. The lens that I've got on my camera is a zoom lens. It runs from 28 to 80. The camera itself, it's a Pentax. Geez, which model is it? K10, and it's got a zoom lens, and it's capable of focusing on a slide. Now, I need about 6 inches between me and the slide to be able to focus in on the slide such that it fills my frame. Okay, I built a rig capable of doing that. It looks like this. All this is a block of plywood, 12 inches by 6 inches, a block of wood, 2 inches by ½ thick, ½ thick, 2 inches wide, 12 inches long, glued onto the wood, another block on the other side, ½ inch thick, 2 inches wide, 12 inches long, glued on the wood. The distance between the two pieces of wood is the width of a slide. I don't know if you could see that quite well. It's the width. Yeah, it's the width of a slide. It's a little bit loose. I've got maybe an 1/8 inch, and it allows the slide to go in. Now, I built this little thing. It's a couple of pieces of metal. It's quarter inch key stock. I epoxied on a little bit of wood, and I glued a piece of wood here, a piece of wood there. I put a long bolt, a long nut. The nut on this side runs, it's about 3/4 of an inch long. It runs from here to here. I put this screw in. I put an extra nut on it so that I can screw this screw in and lock it where I want to lock it. The whole purpose of this, if we go back to this thing fits inside. Well, it fits, right, let's try that way. All right, it fits inside this thing, and it's set up such that when I slide it to that side, the screw touches this nut here and locks, and that screw touches that nut there and locks. What you do is you put a slide in on here, you slide it in, and the slide is now centered above this hole here. You can slide it out, and I've got 2 little finger notches that I cut to make it easy to put the slide in and take the slide out. Now, the next piece of hardware I've got is a light box. You turn the light box on, you put this on, and when I slide this thing, the slide is now illuminated from below. The next piece of hardware that I have, sewer pipe. It's actually 3-inch ABS plastic. It looks like that. It's 2 pieces. I've got a coupling to couple 2 of them together, and this piece slides inside that piece. I cut a couple of slots here. I sanded up front to make a rounded opening up there, and you'll see what this is all for. Let me turn this thing off so you can see a little better. I've got 4 little screws here with a little bit of a plastic sleeve around each one. When I put this thing on, those 4 screws hold it exactly where I want it. Come on, right there. It's tight. Okay, there it goes. So now I can put that on, and I've got something that will hold my camera directly over the slide. The length of that pipe is the correct length for me to be able to zoom in on the slide and focus in on the slide, and everything works. The next little thing is to take this little strap and do something with it so it doesn't get in my way. Got a little chair, put it there, it's fine. My camera has a cable release, which is very nice for being able to flip slides in and out. The way this thing works, let's see, I've got a second slide here. The way this thing works, you simply turn on the light box, starting from scratch. Well, before you do any of this, I guess you'd have to line up the first slide, make sure that you're zoomed in. The two little slots that I did on the side of that pipe, that allows me to get my fingers inside and get to the control on the camera to control the zoom. So I look inside, I line it up. If I have to, there we go. I zoom in, turn the camera on, then it's just a matter of snap the photo, put the next slide in on this side, slide this in, snap the photo, yes, there we go. Take this slide out, put the next slide in on this side, slide it in, snap the photo, take this slide out, put the next slide in. Realistically, if I had to do this again, I wouldn't bother making a slide enter on either side. I just put the slide on one side. The concept of this little set screw here, as I said, you adjust this so that the slide is centered under the camera. You adjust this side so that if you take this slide, if I were to take this slide out of here and put the same slide on this side and slide it under the camera, it should line up exactly the same place regardless of whether I put it in on the left side or the right side. It wouldn't matter. I sit here, I can digitize slides as fast as I can feed them in and snap the photo. I've got autofocus on. I set the f-meter such that I've got a very wide angle. I let the camera automatically set the exposure. It'll set the exposure based on the light coming in. Other things to consider when you're making your ABS pipe. The inside of this pipe in here is very shiny. I took some steel wool and I dulled it up. Here you can see, my little finger hole so I can get to the zoom ring and I can control it. And it snaps slides very quickly, and the quality of the slide is basically as good as the quality of your camera. That should tell you exactly how it works.